Hello, everyone, and welcome to another NFL Korner. I'm your host, Nick Stano, and like always, I'm joined by my co-hosts, Anthony Bonelli and Stephen Peltier.
Squad.
We have a lot to talk about, so let's just get started with some NFL news and stories. Starting right off, we have the Giants, who are reportedly comfortable with letting Eli Manning play out the final year of his contract. Both sides couldn't agree to an extension, and with the Steelers giving Big Ben a 5-year, $100 million extension last week. The Giants think Eli will want more, and they'll talk more about that at the end of the 2015 season, whatever that may be. There are 9 teams that are potential front-runners to be shown on this year's Hard Knocks season, and they are the Browns, Buccaneers, Giants, Jaguars, Rams, Redskins, Texans, Titans, and Vikings. HBO's NFL training camp series started in 2013 and pretty much turns training camp into a reality TV show. God bless America. Giants owner John Mara told reporters at the NFL annual meeting that he expects at least one team to play in Los Angeles by 2016 and that there will be no playoff expansion for this season. Former Packers, Vikings, and Saints safety Darren Sharper has been sentenced to 9 years in prison after pleading guilty to sexual assault in a plea deal in Phoenix, Arizona. Sharper has also been charged with rape in Las Vegas as well as sexual assault in Los Angeles and New Orleans, so pretty much he's going to go away for life. Eagles legendary Hall of Famer linebacker and center Chuck Bernadette passed away this past Saturday at 89 years old. In his 14 NFL seasons, he was a Pro Bowler 8 times and one of the last players to play both sides of the ball. Broncos GM John Elway isn't worried about the Broncos after they lost several starters during free agency so far. Elway said, quote, "What you have to keep in mind is we think we're going to get 10 draft picks, and we only have 53 roster slots, so it's hard to bring these guys in and give them a lot of money up front to compete because what do you do if one of those young guys proves that they're ready? We'll do something, we're just not in a rush." Pretty much what he's saying is that even though they just spent over $200 million in the past 3 years on their top 10 players, they're not ready to do that again, which is interesting. The NFL owners will take a look at 23 potential rule changes to be discussed at the annual owners meeting. They were already talking about it yesterday, and they ruled about they're dropping the blackout rule, so games that just sell out will be shown across the country instead of just in localized areas. The NFL hosted their first ever Veterans Combine this past weekend. Over 100 former players or players that are just free agents that no one wanted worked out at the Combine as scouts and GMs from all 32 teams were there. There were guys like Felix Jones and Brady Quinn, Michael Sam, and all these guys working out. Your boy. Retired 49ers linebacker Chris Borland gave back 75% of his $600,000, or just over $600,000 signing bonus back to the Niners. He said that he only took what he paid or what he deserved and gave the rest back because he didn't earn it yet. And finally, Adrian Peterson's future is still undecided as the Vikings have made a unified front to try and keep Peterson. However, according to NFL Network's insider Albert Breer, Peterson's agent declined a meeting with Vikings GM Rick Spielman, and that Peterson still wants out of Minnesota. And then the other thing was that J.J. Watt restructured his contract, turning $8 million into a signing bonus. But yeah, it started out as 10, but he converted it to an $8 million signing bonus, freeing up $8 million in cap for the Texans, which is big for them because that means they could pull off one more move. Now we move on to our first topic, and like always in the past month or so, it's free agency and offseason moves. We're just going to go through the list real quick and just kind of talk about them as we go. The Steelers have re-signed linebacker James Harrison to a 2-year deal. Harrison's, like 37 now?
38, 39,
yeah.
Might even be 40.
I mean, I only see him playing out one more year of this contract, but if he plays out too, that's good for him. The Dolphins have re-signed backup quarterback Matt Moore and safety Louis Delmas. Delmas' deal is a 1-year, $3.5 million deal. The Dolphins have also signed former Giants offensive lineman J.D. Walton and former Niners backup running back LaMichael James. I don't think any one of those moves, besides re-signing Delmas, are good. I mean, you can keep up your backup quarterback, that's fine. But Walton was coming off of a Giants offensive line that was one of the worst in the league. So I don't know what that move does for them. And LaMichael James, I mean, he played only a couple games. He was big coming out of Oregon, and then he's a bust too. Like he could have been mentioned last week maybe, because he hasn't done anything coming out of Oregon.
That is true.
And then you have the Colts, who agreed to terms with former Broncos starting linebacker Nate Irving. They also included that in one of the starters that Elway was talking about that they lost. The Jaguars have claimed former Ravens running back Bernard Pierce off of waivers. Pierce was arrested for a DUI last week and was released by the Ravens shortly after that. The Browns have signed former Chiefs wideout Dwayne Bowe to a 2-year deal, adding to a skeleton offense. I mean, that's not much, but I guess it's something, and that's better than nothing. I don't know. The Bills have signed tight end Charles Clay to a 5-year, $38 million deal after the Dolphins announced that they would not match the offer sheet from Buffalo. They felt confident with Jordan Cameron and Deion Sims. I mean, that team could have used Clay. They couldn't afford the offer sheet, though. I mean, Clay does not deserve 5 years, $38 million. I mean, that just doesn't make sense. That's too much for a guy who didn't produce as much as that value of like contract's worth. The Chargers have signed former Broncos defensive lineman Mitch Unrain to a 2-year deal. They also signed cornerback Patrick Robinson to a 1-year, $3 million deal, bolstering that secondary. The Buccaneers have signed former Cowboys corner Sterling Moore to a 1-year, $1.525 million deal, bolstering that secondary as well.
He wasn't that good in Dallas, but maybe he'll turn out.
He got in
he was all right.
for Scandrick.
Claiborne took his spot.
Yeah, I mean that's all right.
Scandrick was.
He played for Scandrick when he was hurt, so
yeah.
he wasn't bad, but he wasn't the best backup for them.
Yeah.
So, but he still adds depth to a team, which is always good. Speaking of the Cowboys, they signed defensive end Greg Hardy to a 1-year, $11.3 million deal, which could be worth up to $13.1 million, which is a huge risk considering this guy still could be disciplined by the NFL for everything that happened in the last year or so. And speaking of guys that were in trouble with the league, about a half hour ago, according to Chris Mortensen, Bears are looking to sign former Niners defensive end Ray McDonald after the Niners released him after he was being investigated for sexual assault. So we'll see how that goes. And then the Browns expect quarterback Johnny Manziel to participate in workouts beginning April 20th after he completes his drug rehab treatment, which will be interesting. The Patriots have signed former Eagles cornerback Bradley Fletcher, which will help that depleted cornerback position. The Jets have officially signed cornerback Antonio Cromartie to a 4-year, $32 million deal. And just, I mean, what do you guys think of these moves? What was the best move? What was the worst move? I mean,
Jets defense might be the best in all football after this off season. They have the potential. They have the potential of being elite. The Jets, yes. What they have done this off season, I think they could be one of the best.
You just said they might be the best.
One of.
No, rewind that. He said the best. Did he?
He said that they're elite. He said they're one of the best.
One of the best. With all what they have done.
So pretty much what you're saying is that they're what,
they
top
added four
3?
guys. They added 4 guys. They go from being bottom barrel, add 4 guys, and now you're elite.
But now you can't. You can't pick a
Was
side.
the Patriots defense elite?
No.
So
what
I
makes
know the Revis signing is in your head.
Yeah,
so Revis was
Cromartie.
there.
They had a good front 7.
No.
No,
Front
they didn't.
four.
Front
Front
four.
four.
Okay. Front
Their
four.
linebacker, they haven't signed any line. Their linebacker core is terrible.
They just re-signed David Harris. That was it.
160.
That was it.
They're not going to be elite.
Fitz was
Come
even
on.
saying they should have
Yeah.
let Harris go.
You think they're going to be elite, like top 3 in the NFL? That would be
Top
one
10.
of the best.
Top 10.
That's not one of the best. The 10th ranked defense isn't good.
Sure.
They're better than
The
most
10th
of the league.
ranked defense is
They're
not.
better than
considered
most,
elite.
but they're not elite.
Yeah, the 10th team.
They'll
will not
be
elite.
all right. I'll take away elite and say they'll be very solid.
Fair
Okay,
enough.
but that's
It's
not saying too
yeah,
much.
You don't
but,
add.
Okay,
They added guys that didn't produce, so just adding them. I mean,
Well, they make one side of the field go away.
I don't know. I can't see them as an elite defense.
I mean,
How many games do they win then?
yeah. What's their
Because
record?
I can tell you a
'Cause-
team with no
'cause-
offense with an elite defense that can make the playoffs.
They were
You said the Dolphins last week would go
This
10
year?
and 6.
Yeah, what they 8-8, 7-9.
Dude,
They would be lucky if they got to 7 wins.
you'd be crazy if they got to 7 wins.
They didn't get 7 wins. I thought they did.
No,
Oh, you're talking about this year?
this
This
past year.
year.
Oh no! Hold on, let me. Check
You
that
said
for
last
you.
week that the Dolphins would
Oh.
go 10 and 6 unofficially, and that was kind of off the record, but this is always on the record. So what do you think, predicting this season, if the Jets do draft Mariota at 6, what do you think is their unofficial record for the 2015 season?
I think
Look into the camera.
They could potentially go.
Speak up. Let
They-
everyone hear you.
They could potentially win 9 to 10 games. With that defense, the defense will keep them. They'll score. They'll keep
What
teams.
did you think they were this year?
7.
They won 4 games.
Okay, I was off by 3.
That's
Well, you
that's
don't
a
remember
lot.
when they started the year 1-9?
I thought they. All right.
You don't remember how bad the Jets were this year?
I know.
When they played the Bills on Monday Night Football at Ford Field because there was so much snow,
yes, I
and they said it was
remember
the worst game ever.
Yes.
You don't remember how much trouble the Jets had this year? They won 4 games. You cannot add 4 people to a team that won 4 games and say that they're going to win. What did he just say? 11 games?
He said
No.
9 or 10 games.
No, you're telling me that 4 guys are going to
But
win
look
you
at the
5
look at
games?
the Browns' offense is horrible, and they won 9.
Dude.
Yeah.
The Browns had a better offense than the Jets did. You're not going to
Okay,
take.
yeah.
You're going to take Geno Smith over Brian
No,
Hoyer.
no. But I'm just saying, the offense is nothing to be woo about, and they won 9 games.
The
Browns won
Cleveland's
8 games.
defense
Number
was a
one, the
lot
Browns won
better.
8 games.
Right. So this
Browns
why-
won 8 games
8.
this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Jets won 4.
Okay, but
So
so
the
why
Jets to
can't
win
the,
10 this year, that would be 6 games better with
I
Geno
said
Smith
9,
at quarterback.
so we'll say 5.
You going to start Fitzpatrick?
If I'm the
Dude, this just can't happen. It just can't
They're
happen.
going to start whoever
you
they
can't
draft.
bring in 4 guys on defense, rather they're elite or not, and think that their defense is going to win them 9 games.
They're going through system changes right now because you have a new head
You have a
coach.
new
and
head coach.
New
Right.
You have
new staff.
You have
pretty
new
much.
staff total redone of a team.
New GM. You have new players to acclimate
so
to
then
it.
why would the,
Mariota
if
is
they,
a
would
new-
they, why,
will be
then
the
why
new
would they
quarterback,
spend all this
probably.
money if they knew they couldn't just spend it?
No.
Tierman, obviously teams
Because-
spend money to get better, but
I
you can't
understand.
guarantee that they're going to get better from adding 4 guys. All right, so let's name the guys that they got. Revis. Was the Patriots defense elite? Absolutely not.
It was very solid.
If I pulled up the stat right now of what they were ranked in total defense, what do you think they would rank against? What do you think they would rank? Their rank would be?
Probably 12.
Okay.
Oh.
12 is elite. That's half the NFL. They're in
Well-
the middle of the NFL.
Well, 16 would be middle.
That's
32
average.
Teams.
That's still average.
That's slightly above
But
average.
with the Pats, though, they couldn't stop the run, so teams would just run on them.
That's true. That was the worst part of
That
that
was the
defense.
worst-
Surprisingly,
Right. Their pass defense was probably
no, it was probably like 8 and 10 of the 8 to 10, I'd say.
I'm pulling it up.
But yeah, their run defense was
You
one of
can't
the
make
worst
that
in the league.
argument. You can't make
But
that
even
argument.
if say their pass defense was already, 8th overall, well then their run defense was like 20th
right.
at best. So, I mean that that'll average out to an average defense. But even then, I don't think that the Jets have. I think the Jets will even out at 8-8 unofficially. I think they break even this year.
We know what the problem is with the Jets is the quarterback situation. It always will. It has been. And so if you can establish that with Marshall and Decker and a very solid tight end in Amaro, that could be a 3.
They were 18th in total overall defense.
That doesn't surprise me.
What were they in pass defense?
Probably like 10th or 11th.
Because I know their run defense was horrendous.
That was probably what killed it.
Right.
You're 18th in total defense.
Correct.
Who said 11?
I said 10 or 11.
11.
For pass?
Yeah. That doesn't
And
surprise
then
me.
Run.
Yeah.
Run was 22.
Yep.
So dude, no way. You just argued yourself and tackled yourself.
Where were the Jets defensively? Bring that up because that run defense, for as good as that front four is not the best. The Lions had a better run defense at that point, but they're going to be one of the worst this year because they don't have Fairley or Sue. And, they have guys like Stephen Tulloch who blow out their knees celebrating.
They got Nada, but that's not the answer.
Yeah, he's one guy trying to replace Sue and Fairley. That's not an argument anyone can sustain. So, yeah.
They're not like the Seahawks defense who just good luck trying to put up points.
Well,
16th. So they were better than New England, but they were still middle.
Yeah. But not not by much.
Overall defense.
2 spots better than New England. Their pass was probably their run defense is probably like 6.
I think what they have done on defense will get them.
I say their run defense was 4th, and their pass defense was probably in the 20s.
Their run defense was 8th.
You had D. Milner. That was your best.
Their pass defense was 21st.
Wow.
So they're one better than New England.
No, not pass wise. That's run
you're
defense.
right. You're right. Okay.
So
dude, you brought yourself down.
So hold on. So in comparison, the Jets' pass defense was almost as awful as the Pats' run defense, and their run defense was slightly better than the Pats' pass defense.
So you're arguing yourself. There's absolutely no way you bring in those guys and that they're totally better. Cromartie, what did Cromartie do this year? Middle of the pack. Middle of the pack.
He's getting older, and he hasn't been in his prime for about 5 years now, or 4 years.
The problem is your head is so filled with the Revis signing. That's all you're looking at.
Yes.
You know I'm right. If you take away that Revis signing, what can you talk about in here right now? If I say forget the Revis signing, what can you talk about? I'm not trying to attack you. I'm trying to prove the point. Take away the Revis signing
for
the Jets right now. What can they talk about? You take away the Revis signing. How did they get better? Where did they get better? They added depth in a secondary, correct, which is never a bad thing.
But their secondary was depleted.
They added another weapon on the outside, a big
year.
Target on the outside.
But who can get him the ball?
No one.
We've said that. The problem is...
No, we're talking defense, though.
Okay.
I'm not talking offense. You add depth to a secondary, fine.
Yep.
That secondary last year was god-awful.
Right.
You have Calvin Pryor, who was probably your best. You thought Milner was your best. No way.
No, best corner. Milner went from their best corner to probably their 5th.
After now with all these signings?
Right.
He's probably the 3rd best corner.
Third.
After Cromartie and Revis.
What about the other guy they signed, Scribe? He's corner, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess
he didn't really prove himself in
Cleveland.
He was so highly touted coming out of college, and he's been like middle of the pack.
If
I take away that Revis signing, you're not sitting here to argue with me about Scrine and Cromartie being lead of the pack.
Absolutely.
So how can Revis, if New England was middle, right? They were middle.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to pull this back up. They were middle.
Yep.
Pass defense. Now, if you went position by position, comparing New England's defense to the Jets' defense, and you went spot by spot, I think New England's defense is better.
Right now.
No, last year. I'm saying forget the Revis signing.
Last year.
Pats, every position, Pats probably win.
Except for defensive
tackle. Except for D tackles.
Right.
They have Wilkerson.
Sheldon Richardson and Muhammad Wilkerson.
Oh, those two are like the underrated Fairley and Sue combo.
Okay,
I'm just saying.
but you take how can.
But also,
All I'm saying is what. All right, so Revis didn't make New England's defense elite. What makes Revis going there going to make New York's
I think
defense
because
elite?
they have the run that teams can't run. Now you add weapon corners,
So
especially
you're
Revis,
forcing teams to pass more.
right? And you
But
got one side of the field already
comfortable?
locked
Are
down.
you comfortable with relying on Darrell Revis and Cromartie, who are both up there in age,
I'm
to
not,
go
but the
all
GM,
day?
the GM is, or else you wouldn't pay those contracts.
I'll tell you what, I would pick on Revis and Cromartie if I was any other team because they're not young enough to be able to handle shifts like that. Non-stop passes.
And as good as Revis was last year, did you see his contract? He is the second biggest contract in free
Yeah.
agency this year. He's making a guguaranteed
All I'm saying
$39
is
million
this.
in the next
All I'm saying
3
is this:
seasons.
if your argument
It's
is
a
that
cap
their
killer.
defense is going to be elite, now you got to think of the word elite. If their defense is going to be elite because of Revis'
it's not going
signing,
to be
it's
like
not going to
Steel
happen.
Curtain.
No.
Well, that's
hell
what
no.
elite is.
Yes.
There's no higher word for a defense than elite.
Yes.
When I think of elite, I think of an all-star team. That is elite.
Like it has to be 1 or 2 or 3 defensively or offensively. And
So they're
unit-wise,
going
it has to be
to
top
they're going to
3.
go from 20. Were they 21? They were 21.
Yeah.
They're going to go from 21 pass defense all the way down to somewhere 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, solely based off of Revis and
Probably
Cromartie.
not that, but they'll probably be 8 next year.
I would give
Because
give
let's
them
see-
at
see,
most
the-
10 spots up.
Right now, the best pass defense is probably Seattle.
I would give them a lot of credit, but yeah, sure.
Seattle, then I need help.
Honestly, I'm not just saying it, but I honestly think that the only reason why, when you look at this team that I'm about to say, you look at this team, horrible defensive ends, horrible defensive tackles, every single linebacker is god-awful and their safeties suck. But you look at their secondary, just like the corners, very good, San Diego. San Diego Chargers has a great corners.
Yeah, and they just signed
Great
yeah.
corners.
They just signed Robinson and Flowers back,
Right.
so San Diego does
I
have
don't
a
know.
good.
I just don't think that
Secondary.
you can make that bold of a prediction. Remember, they won 4 games this year. They were 1-9 at one point. They won 4 games.
I think that they.
If I don't have enough faith in any team, I don't care if they got Sue too. I don't see how they could go from 4 wins to 9 or 10 wins, like you said, and be considered an elite defense.
Yeah.
Does Revis signing help? Yes.
Well,
Does Cromartie signing help? Yes. Will those guys make the crappy secondary that they already have better because they're young guys that can learn from those 2 vets?
Yes.
But does that team become elite from those 2 signings
No.
with still a spotty linebacker
Okay,
core?
we'll get rid of the word elite. We'll say very good.
All right. I'm still having a hard time.
I'll
but
go with
I'll
good-ish.
accept it. I'll accept it. I'm just
Good-ish.
Yeah, just because it's unproven
all
right
right,
now.
take the word away. Forget that you even said the word.
Mhm.
I'm having a harder time with how you go from 4 wins to magically 10.
I
It's
think
insane.
I think that they
That's a
would.
lot of freaking wins more, man.
I think that they would have to make at least a couple more moves offensively for that team
You
to
need
to
a
jump
quarterback.
that far.
You can't get him the ball.
We've said that. So
Think about teams that have elite receivers that don't put up numbers because they don't have a quarterback. You just said that they got a great player in Brandon Marshall. Well, guess what? Guess where Brandon Marshall and Alshon Jeffrey have been? Nowhere. Why? Because Jay Cutler had a bad year. Is Jay Cutler a bad quarterback? No, I don't think so. But he had a bad year. Geno Smith's not ever going to have an elite year where he can get them the ball that they're going to produce.
He doesn't have
so
the
then
talent
you have
to
to
do
go
it.
back and look at the defense. Can that defense win you 5 more games? You got to understand, 5 games in the National Football League is a huge difference.
Yeah.
I want you to take every team you can think of, for example. When the 49ers last year, 2 years ago, when the 49ers made a deep run, how many wins did they win in the regular season? 11. You know what they dropped to this year? 7. It's easier to drop 4 or 5 games than to go up 5 or 4 games.
Yeah.
I want you to honestly think of a team that in the past few years has won 5 more games. The Browns did this year. They won 3 more, right? Yeah, the Browns were 8-8 this year.
Yeah.
I think that they were
broke
5,
even.
Yeah, they were 5-0. Okay, so they were 5-11 the year before. I don't know. That's
But they
so
were
ballsy to be able to
they
do
were
that.
barely pulling out some of those wins with field goals in the last
I don't
minute
know.
or
And you're
overtime.
playing. All right, here, let me point this out too. You're playing in a division where New England, you have Tom Brady.
Yeah.
You have Miami, who they stocked up on both sides of the ball, not just focused on one thing. And Buffalo, who arguably had the best defense in that in that division to begin with, they got better.
Yeah.
They lost. Who they lose? Lost not McKelvin. They lost
Cersei.
What is replaceable?
Well, I mean that's kind of slacking at the safety position now a little bit.
I don't know.
They have McKelvin, but
I'm still sold on their defense.
No, I'm sold on their defense too. I'm just saying that would be their weakness.
They don't have a quarterback, but guess what? I would rather have E.J. Manuel at quarterback than Geno Smith.
Yes.
You can't tell me you wouldn't.
No.
Go Knowles.
You would. So now you're saying the Jets are gonna you play everyone in your division twice.
Yep.
That's 3 times 6. That's 3 times 2. That's 6 games.
Mm-hmm.
And the NFL season is 16 games.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying they're going to win 9 or 10.
I don't know what their schedule looks like.
Well, it's guaranteed that
Right,
they're going to play everyone in the
right,
division twice.
Right,
that happens.
But other teams, you could get the bomb. Like
no, there's not enough bum teams in the NFL that your schedule could magically appear that you're playing the Jaguars every game.
No, I know, but you could.
If
you get lucky.
If you backtrack from what you said,
I think the
lay
new
all the
new
facts out on the
Jaguars team
table.
is probably going to be the 49ers.
I know. If you lay all the facts out on the table, it doesn't add up. I want you to think about these facts. All right, so Buffalo twice. Yeah, you might be in a close game. Buffalo's defense, I don't know. You have to remember, you're going to score. You're not going to have the other teams score because the Jets' defense, they definitely got better. But if they can't put points on the board, how are they going to win?
I don't see any AFC East team going 2-0 against any of their division rivals. I think they split every game.
And I'm telling you what, I still think Jets are at the bottom.
Yeah. I could put Dolphins at 3, Bills 1 or 2, Patriots 1 or 2.
Tannehill sucks, but at least Tannehill's better than
any
player.
He's solid.
Yeah.
So, actually, I have a bit of an interesting question because the Jets gave the second highest contract to Revis, and then the Dolphins gave the highest contract to Sue. So, where does this account for in terms of winning versus big money? Because Sue's contract, Sue's contract cripples that team financially in the sense that he's never going to make under $20 million as a cap hit per season after this season.
Right.
So he's guaranteeing 60.
The Jets' defense
but they can't,
is here.
The Dolphins can't add depth because of it. They've added a couple guys, but
don't get me wrong.
None of them have been like really great additions. Like you can't look me in the eye and tell me
the Jets defense is better than Miami though.
Oh yes.
Jets defense right now, as of today, Jets defense is here.
Yeah.
Miami's defense is here.
Yeah. Miami's
offense is here. Jets offense is here.
Well,
that's the difference maker to me.
The whole thing, if you didn't see, he had a whole bunch of hand gestures that went with that. But I think that the Jets and Dolphins defenses are similar in that they have weak linebacking cores now because the Dolphins got rid of a couple of their guys. They have great defensive lines, and their secondaries could be iffy at best because you don't know how exactly Revis and Cromartie are going to work back into the system, how any of these new additions are going to work out. So, why do teams go after these players and spend guaranteed $40 million or something like that? Because the top 5 free agents all had over $20 million in guaranteed money. So, I think Jeremy Maclin was probably the best free agent signing this year, hands down, because he took less guaranteed money and a smaller contract than what he could have gone for, and he's going to help that KC offense better than Dwayne Bowe, although maybe not, to what his numbers were last year. But I mean, Sue's getting 59 and change guaranteed.
So 60.
Pretty much, yeah. It's like 59,995. Yeah. It's like something stupid like that. Revis is getting 39 guaranteed over 3 years. Mm-hmm. I mean, these guys are going to slowly suck up massive amounts of cap space to where these teams, this could be the best that these teams get for the next, 3 to 6 years because they won't have the room unless these guys magically restructure their contracts. This is what we see all the time now because guys take these huge contracts and then slowly they restructure and restructure and restructure and restructure to be able to give these teams more cap room, or some of them just don't want to, and then you have all these release situations and everything. It's just ridiculous. So, does taking big money now help your team out, or does it hurt it in the long run?
See, I think it depends on the state of the team. Because
the teams that we're looking at spending more money are teams that are generally in the bottom of the league or their division.
What I was gonna say is, if you're in full rebuilding mode, for example, the 49ers or someone like that, I wouldn't spend it all right now, front up, to get players. If you can get a young guy and you throw him a contract that's high or middle of the pack, I'm for it. Now, for example, I think...
so for example, take Julius Thomas.
Right.
Pretty much one of the most untested free agents there is, who had Peyton Manning throwing to him, and he gets $24 million guaranteed by the Jaguars. That's giving a guy who's pretty much unproven dumb money to potentially not even work out. And he wasn't even one of the best tight ends until 2 years ago when Peyton Manning started throwing to him all the time.
Now that could be did he not throw? Because
if you look at Julius Thomas's 4 seasons in the NFL, he's been useless for half of them. And the other 2, he had Peyton Manning throwing to him. So what does that really say about him, production-wise, talent-wise, and his value to a team? It only skyrocketed when Manning came into the picture. Before that, when you had like Tebow or Quinn or whoever throwing to him, he wasn't there. He wasn't an option. In fact, outside of Peyton Manning throwing to him, he caught 1 pass for 5 yards in 2 years. It's such a risk. DeMarco Murray, less, even not as risky as Julius Thomas, but had one of the best offensive lines in front of him. We were talking about this last week.
I just got Fitz's opinion on this. He says they're going to go 3-3 in the division. So you already got 3.
Everyone's going to go 3-3 pretty much in that division.
So
everyone's going to get
Jets
one.
Already have 3 losses right there.
Yeah.
They have 3 wins right there. 6 more games got to come out of conference. He says that he thinks they can go anywhere from 7-9, which is I see them going 8-8. No higher than 8-8. You're going to win 4 more games in the NFL.
I can see them breaking. I can see them breaking even.
He said 7-9, but he goes if they find a way to get clicking on offense and get a quarterback, then 11-5. Yeah, go sign a quarterback tomorrow, and I'll say you go 11-5.
Well, it depends on what quarterback that is.
You need someone. You can't
someone
rely
better
on
than
Fitzpatrick,
Gino.
and you can't rely on Gino.
You can't re-sign Vic because he's not existent either. But all right, because we're having a bit of a shorter show this week because the other 2 have a golf meeting, let's get to our second topic. Now, last week we had kind of previewed this topic as another interesting topic that we would talk about that would probably turn into a bait. Benelli had suggested it. We're going to talk about the best 3 football games, in our opinion, that we've seen. Now, these could be preseason games, regular season games, playoff games, Super Bowls. And we have to explain why these are one of our best games that we've ever seen. Now, just like last week, we want you to know what you guys think. Tweet at us your answers at the NFL Korner 3, or leave a comment on this video when it comes up. So we'll start with Benelli and go around. Benelli, and these aren't ranked in order.
At a time, right?
Yeah, these aren't ranked in order. Just give us one of your first best game that you've ever seen.
Not in order.
Not in order. This isn't order. This has no priority by order.
A little biased, I guess, but
is it a Bengals game?
Yeah, it is, obviously, and it was this year, and I talked about it was this year's Monday night game against Denver, and the reason being,
I thought it was going to be the Steelers.
The reason being, we had to win to get in the playoffs. Yep. We absolutely had to win.
That was mandatory.
That's not an easy team to go on the road.
Yeah, you guys went
and know that you're going to have to win the game, right?
thought they were
Oh,
Cincy.
they were. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, they were right.
That's not an easy game to play Denver.
It was a field of orange, whatever.
You just can't. You can't. I mean, with a game on the line, one of the last teams you want to play is Denver.
Yeah.
So
and Andy Dalton had a pretty good game that game.
He did have a pretty good game, but
Dre Day with the pick, baby.
Dre Day sealed it, but the pick that turned the game was Pac-Man's.
Yes.
Pac-Man had the first pick. Dre had the pick to seal it. So it was 37-28 was the final score.
Yep.
We got into the playoffs.
The rest is history from there.
But it was a hell of a game
Broncos
because
still in there
we hurt the Broncos. I think that was the turning point. Like, the Broncos, they kind of turned after that Rams game when they just got manhandled.
They had 4 of their receivers go down after amazing hits by that Rams secondary.
But that Bengals game Monday night really kind of derailed them off the tracks going into the postseason.
Yeah,
that's why they lost. So that was a great game in my eyes.
Yeah. All right, Tier Man, your first game.
I have this past year's Super Bowl, just not from Pat's stand, just from an NFL standpoint. It had everything that a fan or GM or whatever wanted. You had the Seahawks going back to back, which is nearly impossible to do. You had New England trying to win their first Super Bowl from Spygate. You had
in
the
their
legacy.
Third attempt. In their third attempt.
You had a young and promising Russell Wilson trying to create this legacy that
Brady had only done before that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You had 2 defenses, very good. So you had 2. I'm not gonna. Because when I say 2 offenses, Seattle's offense, it's nothing to make me like.
Seattle's offense that day was Chris Matthews and Marshawn Lynch and Russell Wilson.
Yes.
Because no one else did anything.
And so I just think if you were a Seahawks fan, Pat fan, a Browns fan, it doesn't matter what team, I think just watching that game was one of the best, especially at the end. If you told me with, 20 seconds left that Seattle was going to throw the ball and there would be an interception, I would call you crazy.
Yeah.
So So I think that just had everything.
It was one of the best Super Bowls in our era. I just don't want to put it because it's too cliche. It just happened. Everyone talks about it.
Yeah,
That's the reason why
I definitely agree with you that it's one of the best games I've ever seen. Purely based on like an NFL fan standpoint, because
even if you hate both the teams.
Yeah, because even for myself, I had looked at my brother in the last minute of the game, and I said, even if the Patriots do lose this game, it is still one of the best Super Bowls I've ever seen.
Without a doubt.
Because, like, as much as I would be so pissed that the Patriots had lost the game, I would have been okay with the fact that it was just an amazing game. Now, it might have taken me like a week or 2 to get a handle of that, but I still would have gotten there at some point and been okay with it. The fact that they won just made that a whole lot easier.
True. Because you had the Pats offense, this great offense, how are they going to stack up against this defense? It just had every storyline.
Yeah, and you had like the best offense in football last year go up against the best defense in football,
right.
and then the Seahawks smoked the Broncos right out from the gate. So yeah, it was definitely interesting. Good pick here. The one that I had was the one I had mentioned last week, the Patriots-Broncos from Week 12 in 2013.
Yes.
It was a tale of two halves, really. I had tweeted this out at some point. I had said that if the Patriots had like one more fumble that turned into a touchdown, I would put on my Aaron Hernandez jersey. So in the first half, at the end of the first half, I was wearing my throwback Hernandez jersey. But they made a great comeback in the second half, and they made the largest comeback in franchise history, scoring 34 points. They outscored the Broncos 34-7 in the second half and won the game with a field goal in overtime. And it was just an exciting game to watch, and the fact that it was a regular season game was just as good too, because this was what people were expecting to be like a future kind of look at playoff game potentially, and we know that the opposite happened in the AFC Championship game, but it was still a great game to watch.
Yep.
All right, Benelli, your second game.
Second game, 2002 Super Bowl, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Oakland Raiders.
I remember this one.
And this was, when you look at it, an Oakland team that was pretty stacked on offense. Anyone remember Tyrone Wheatley, that running back? Do you remember who that is?
Yes, I do.
You remember Tyrone Wheatley?
Yes,
Do you remember Jerry Rice?
I do.
Remember Rich Gannon?
Yes.
Remember Tim Brown?
Yes.
Yeah, that was a great
Warren Sapp.
that was a great offense. Do you remember you remember a defense in Tampa Bay? You remember Derek
Warren
Brooks
Sapp,
in his prime?
Warren Sapp, Derek Brooks.
You remember one of the Barber sisters? Rondé Barber.
Rondé.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Tampa Bay won 48-21, but it was a great game. It was a great game because it was tied at halftime. Simeon Rice. It was tied at halftime and got blown open in the second half.
Yeah, remember
so
that.
that was a great Super Bowl.
It was a close first half, and then the game just got torn open.
Well,
in
it
the
was
second
funny
half.
because neither team's relevant anymore.
Yeah,
So
and that was like the only Super Bowl that either team had gone to this, not even just this decade, this century, pretty much.
So
like since 2000.
It was a hell.
that was
great. That was a hell of a game. That was it was a pick that. I mean, I don't know if either of you guys watched the game, but it was a great game.
I did. I remember that because me and my neighbor at the time had bet like 3 bags of candy on the game.
Can't go wrong with that.
Wasn't money; it was bags of candy. But
Can't
we
go
were
wrong
in
with that.
fourth. We were in 4th grade at the time. All right. Tier man, what's your second game?
I forget what Super Bowl number it was, but Pittsburgh and Arizona.
Yeah, that.
Hold
Oh,
on.
jeez, that was a great game.
Hold on. I do have this game as well. It was my second game. It's Super Bowl 43, Tier Dave.
Sorry. But
That's crazy to think. This year will be 7 years ago.
Yeah, that was nuts.
That was a heck of a game. Good
2000.
pick. Good pick, both you guys. Double
You
pounds.
had-
Yes.
the 100-yard.
That's when Larry Fitzgerald was relevant too.
Yes.
The 100-yard.
Pick six by
fumble.
Fumble
By
return.
who?
James Harrison, who just got re-signed.
Yep.
Your cousin.
And then,
Which
but the interesting
Nick,
part about this would
I
be
know both of you guys are gonna get it, but who caught the game-winning pass?
Santonio Holmes.
How much time was left?
It was
I
like,
remember the catch
it was
too.
like seconds
remember
left.
the catch too,
Back
like
of the-
this.
back of
yeah.
the end
It was like a
zone.
tiptoed catch where you,
Yeah.
where you caught it
Double
over his shoulder.
coverage.
Where is
Yeah.
he now?
Probably
Nowhere.
in the CFL.
Nowhere.
Nowhere.
The
McDonald's.
Bears released him after they signed him like mid-season.
Yeah.
How much time was left?
It was like like under 10 seconds.
35, I believe.
Plenty of
I wrote-
time.
I wrote
Yeah.
it.
Plenty of time.
30 game-winning touchdown. 35
And when they
seconds.
was it
But-
won by 4 or 5, right?
Hold
The
on.
score was 27-23.
But you know who
4. I was right. You
you-
can run down the field in 35 seconds and get a touchdown.
you know who would have been the game-winning MVP at that point if Santonio Holmes did not catch that pass?
Keith Miller.
No. Not even James Harrison.
Probably Big Ben.
Nope. Not on the same team.
Oh.
Larry Fitzgerald. That
Oh, yeah,
64-yard
Fitz had a good-
touchdown
that touchdown was
catch
big.
put them ahead with
That's when,
under.
that's when he would just
with
go up and Mike
minutes
Evans
left.
people. That was his prime.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
his
he would just
prime.
go up and like two-handed, one-handed, right over everyone.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And Mr. Bolden.
That's correct.
Yep.
Yeah, but then you
They
had
used to be good. If you think about it, they used to be good.
yeah, and their running backs would just come out of nowhere with these huge runs.
It's true.
Huge runs.
It's true.
That team was great, and that was the last Steelers team pretty much that to be great on defense
I still
and
think
offense.
the Steelers blew it this year when they could have actually done something. When
Yep.
Roethlisberger went out, Gronkowski came in, was like 5 for 5, and then Roethlisberger can come back in. You throw him in the first pass, he throws a freaking pick in the back of the end zone.
To your boys.
Yeah, I hate both teams, but I don't know why you don't just keep Gronkowski in, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean that was such an interesting thing, but then they gave him $100 million extension
You
this
were-
year.
yeah.
So.
You were giving me. I actually just thought of a regular season game, so I'm not going to use my third one. Just popped in my head.
It's the Pat Snow Bowl was the one that you
Yep,
had.
yes,
I said that
yes.
was a great
the
game
tuck,
too.
The tuck rule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my third one.
Is that your third game, Benali?
No.
Okay, then what's
God,
your
no.
third game?
The best game ever. 2012. Pittsburgh Steelers.
Versus
Timmy, Tebow. In the playoffs. Tebow leads the
Yeah.
game-winning drive in overtime.
with that
Slap
pass. to Demarius Thomas.
Yes,
Slap.
and I had to get this for you right now.
Yep.
I had to get this for you right now. That was one of the greatest games I've ever seen in my
That
life.
was one-
And I absolutely hate Tim Tebow. And I absolutely hate the Steelers. And I absolutely hate the Broncos. but that was one of the greatest games I have ever seen. Ever.
Yeah.
That was
Ever.
That was a really
That
good
was
game.
when Tim Tebow had more playoff wins than Peyton Manning.
Ever.
Yeah.
Ever. 23-29 in overtime.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Here is Tebow's stat. All right, here's Roethlisberger's stats. 22 of 40,
Mm-hmm.
289 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception.
Tebow had
Average.
like 340 or something.
Tebow.
He went
10 completions.
I'm
No.
just kidding.
10 completions.
250 yards.
Yeah, he had a lot of yards.
10 completions. I want you to think about that. 10
10.
completions, okay?
That's like practice warm-ups for Brady, by the way.
21 attempts. 10 for 21. 316
Oh
yards.
my
I know it.
2 touchdowns and no picks. But why? Because that last play of the game.
Oh, that's over
the last
30 yards per
The
pass.
last play of the
Jeez.
game.
That one
Was
80.
Demarius Thomas?
They were on their own 12-yard
78
line.
yard
They
touchdown.
were on their own 12-yard line. And he threw it
78
to 'em.
yards. Yeah.
Come on, that's one of the greatest things ever.
Yeah. That.
He took over for my boy, Mr. Orton.
No, 88 yards.
He took over, 88 yards. He took over for my boy, Mr. Orton, and he
Mhm.
led them to the champion. He
Yeah.
led,
Yeah. 88 yards. 78.
Yeah.
intro to adding.
I failed my math
That's a
classes,
sleeper
everyone.
game
Yeah,
because I
that's really
guarantee
good.
you, none of you even thought about that game when you were thinking about
No,
this.
the 2 games that were my honorable mentions, I'm just gonna say them right now, was the Rams Titans Super Bowl. The Kevin Dyson 1 yard
the
play.
1 yard try to reach out.
Yeah.
I was thinking that one.
It was my honorable mention. I couldn't definitely say it was one of the best games I've ever watched because I only remember bits and pieces of it.
That was a really good game.
And then the other game I had was your boys, the Bengals versus Packers game from a couple years ago.
Oh yeah, dude, that was a lot high score. That was like when both defenses were just like letting everything happen.
Well, like the Bengals shut down the Packers for the half of the third and all the fourth quarter to
Yeah.
win because otherwise the Packers would have won that
would've
game.
Won that game, yeah.
It was a great game to
Yeah,
watch.
I remember that. I don't know. I
So
just
those
think
are-
that this
those
is
are
like
my
a
2 honorable
sleeper.
mentions, but-
I just think that this is a sleeper game.
That
because-
is a really good pick because I never would have thought to add
right. Not many people
a
think about it.
2012 Broncos game too.
Right. Not many people
to
think
this.
about it. Number one, and number two is
But it's also hard when you have only 3 games to pick from.
that's
like,
true.
Like it has
But
to
I got my
become.
fair mix in.
Yeah, you
I got a
did.
Super Bowl. I got a regular season, and I got a playoff.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
I got my regular season.
ooh, let's hear it. This
Eagle-
year's Packers,
Nope. It was 2-3 years ago.
Eagles, Giants.
Yep.
I remember. And your flipping
I
boy
didn't-
with a punt return for a touchdown. When the game was, don't punt it to him. Your dad probably had a heart attack that game.
Because I remember this day.
Deshaun Jackson.
We went.
Deshaun Jackson,
I
Tom
remember
Coughlin,
this.
don't punt it to him. They punt it to him.
falls back into the
It's
end
over.
zone.
I remember this day. We went golfing, all right, because we have a thing back home.
Family story.
Yep.
Remember,
Family
it's
story.
like the back of his hand.
Yep.
Flashback.
We go golfing because my parents, we like to tape it, so we skip all the commercials.
Commercials, right.
Yeah.
So you just watch it
So
after.
they were exactly. So and I knew I cheat a lot when it comes because I hate doing
He's looking
that.
it up.
Yep, looking it up, and I just remember I can't. And the play goes, I was like, oh, they're gonna win. And my mom's like, just punt it out of bounds. Don't let them get it. Punt it out of bounds. And then he punted it, and then he just dances around.
Everyone. It's like a 9-second punt return.
Yeah.
Literally, and she just looks and goes, why didn't they just punt it out of bounds?
And I remember Deshaun Jackson going like this
Yeah.
before the punt,
Yeah.
like trying to. Dude,
Yeah.
that is a good call. That's a good call.
And I was just like,
Oh.
oh my goodness.
That was one game.
That was probably one of the
That was one of the most
craziest,
puzzling.
craziest
calls.
things I've ever seen.
That's one of the most
That was
puzzling.
when the
I
Giants
think
won
that-
the Super Bowl.
I think that's more suspect
That
than
was when
than,
the Giants beat New England in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I don't remember
And
what
I think
won.
that's more suspect than the call of Pete Carroll and the Seahawks throwing it.
yeah,
at
why
the
do you
goal line.
punt in that? I mean, that's just a funny.
Like even if you do punt
But
it,
no, you know what else you realize?
Kick it
You
out
know what else?
of
No. You know what else they could
field
have done?
position because they were backed up.
Do you know how much time was left in that game? The quarterback could have taken a snap and ran around.
yeah,
And then thrown the ball downfield, thrown a pop fly downfield, and the clock would have been at 0.
yeah.
The clock was 0 when he ran that back. They didn't have a chance. The game was over. That's why he fell into the end zone, and then everyone ran onto the field. The game, he ended the game on the punt return. So
Which
there's a
is
lot of different
nuts.
things you could have done in that situation.
And then-
That's funny. I knew you were
Was-
going to have that.
And then was that the year when they threw the Mario Manningham?
Yeah.
Yep.
That was the same.
year,
That was the same
the-
year.
All
play-
in the same
The
year.
play of We could always go with the helmet on the catch game.
Yeah.
All in the same year.
David Tyree.
I thought that, as I said, I named that game. I thought that was one of the games you guys were going to throw in.
No,
I had the.
I could not bring
You had the
myself to put that on the best
I
games
had-
ever.
You had the snowball?
I had the Pats Raiders overtime.
That was a hell of a game.
The Tuck Rule game.
The Tuck
Yeah,
Rule
Tuck Rule
game,
game.
16-13.
That was nuts because that started a dynasty
That
pretty
did
much,
start a dynasty. That was the beginning.
which was nuts.
Brady,
It was brewing
Brady
then.
leading them down for a game-winning field
But-
goal. The guy clearing the space off.
My third game is the follow-up to that, minus the Super Bowl of the Patriots versus the Rams, because
Do it.
I remember
That
almost
was a
this
good one.
entire game. The 2-minute
Yeah.
drive with, not even 2 minutes, that was a minute and a half drive that Brady had down the field,
Yeah.
Vinatieri's game-winning field goal, and, I mean, like, personally, I was sitting there thinking, like, this is too close, like, you know, I don't think we'll win. Vinatieri kicks the field goal, and I remember losing it. I remember running straight out of my house and into the cold weather
Is
because
it nice? Is that fun to do?
it was amazing.
Is that fun?
It
I'd
was
love to do
great.
that one year.
Yeah, I mean,
But every year I seem like I'm crying after the first week of the playoffs. I don't ever have that option.
maybe you get to experience that
trust me,
someday.
Trust me, I have a lot of plans
What
for when
about-
we do win.
see-
to do
Yeah, I
stuff.
mean, I was in third grade at the time when they won. 2001.
I have a lot
What
of
about-
plans.
2001.
New
And then they
England,
won in
and then the
2004
Panthers.
and then 2005 or 2003, 2004. Yeah, because they didn't do 2002.
Yeah.
So it was 2003 and 2004.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just a great time to be a Pats fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Must be nice.
Good times, good times.
Carolina, New England, too. That Super Bowl, Jake DeHall.
I remember
That Panthers defense was really good too. They were
Yeah, it
stacked.
was.
That was a good game,
That was.
too.
You know what I think in all defense of
Very good.
it's funny you talk
game
about
against New
defense in defense of defense.
The Patriots had a great defense too
back
at that
then,
point.
like 10 years ago, like a decade ago, when there was so many less rules about how you could play defense,
Defenses were a lot better.
defenses were so much better.
Yeah.
I don't even think technology's changed defense. I think that play calling are
I think just
rules and yeah.
because you
I think
can't
rules
you
have
can't
adjusted
get a-
defense so
because
much.
you can't get away with anything.
Yeah.
No.
Because you could.
A clean hit in quick time, like if I'm tackling him
I'm out.
and I go flying right here and I go shoulder to shoulder, it looks like head to helmet to helmet.
Right.
They're not going to stop, run to the sideline and review. I think penalties with under 5 minutes left, all penalties should be reviewed.
Isn't that one of the rule changes?
That's one that they're trying to put in.
Yeah. But like the whole thing is that like we saw this with the Rams game because I know you and I were talking about this on Twitter. Was one of
that penalty, yeah.
the hit against Sanders.
Yeah,
was
Emmanuel Sanders
penalized.
when he was just laying there. That was the cleanest hit ever. We were texting about that.
Yeah.
It was shoulder to shoulder.
It was very clearly
if
shoulder
I'm running
to shoulder
full speed
too.
at you and you're running full speed at me and I hit you shoulder to shoulder,
Shoulder.
for a referee 20 yards away, it looks like helmet to helmet.
Right,
Also-
which is crazy because it was very blatant to everyone who was watching at home because we had a larger field of vision that it was shoulder to shoulder. Like there was no helmet to helmet
None
contact
at all. Yeah.
But like from their angle on the field, that was a penalty because he blew his head off. Apparently.
I think that
And
is
Sanders
when,
got his claw cleaned. It was an
I think
amazing
that's
hit.
when the back judge. I think for penalties, I think refs should have a section, the call area. It's kind of like
so you're gonna.
it's like referees.
Are you
in
trying to
basketball.
add?
It's
so
a
you're-
basketball referee.
Okay.
I'm gonna make this how the back guy.
Here's your
calls
weekly. Here's your
Yeah.
weekly basketball reference, everyone.
It's how the back ref calls a foul when
it's on the other end.
when it's the
Someone's
that
crazy,
drives me
yeah.
nuts. And another thing that drives me nuts, especially in the NFL, when a wide receiver is expecting a call, the quarterback throws it to him, he misses the ball or does something, throws a 5-year-old tantrum like this,
Yeah.
and the ref waits, 1, 2, flag
Red
comes
flag,
out.
yeah.
That drives
I
me.
remember watching. I
nuts.
think it was the Bills-Dolphins game on Monday Night Football, and I've never
Thursday
seen.
Night Football.
That's what it was, yeah. Because
Yeah.
I remember waiting about 5 minutes, and it was the longest pass interference call.
Yes.
Because the line
remember
judge
that.
was just
That was the
like
game-
waiting. It was like 5 minutes later, and you see the yellow flag
Right.
fly, and you're
That
just
was-
like, "What was that
That was
for?"
Booby Dixon. That was Booby
Yes.
Dixon because Spiller and Jackson were out. That was the start
So,
of that.
I
era.
think-
remember that.
I
That's
think those-
ridiculous.
Yeah,
I think-
and then later that game, Tannehill had one that was called. I think it was just as long as the time of his way because they were taking like
So we
a
are
couple
all in
minutes between
agreement that
penalties.
decades ago when the referee when it was
Absolutely.
more
Absolutely.
play the game.
That's why I don't think you can compare.
Here's my other
deep-
basketball reference.
Here we go.
When we watched the tournament, what I was watching with you, what do I say? Look, You can be
That's
a
not-
bad ref. If you're consistently bad, you're good. If you're consistently bad, at least you're consistent.
Right.
Right.
So, in basketball, I was telling this to him, and he agreed. You either let them play, let the elbows and the shoving inside the paint go on,
Right.
or call it every time.
Right, and
you
don't-
can't be spotty.
Right.
There's hits in the NFL that are shoulder to shoulder, blatant, that are
Right.
called a foul, and there's hits that are shoulder to shoulder in the NFL that are blatant, not called a foul.
Right. It
So,
dep- it
so
depends
if
on
you
the player,
have that
too.
deception,
Ugh.
you're going to
Why
make
did my voice
teams.
crack?
If you have that deception, you're going to make teams be like, well, it was a foul there. It was the same thing.
Exactly.
That's why the NFL has to come up with a set standard of what is called and what isn't. And there's
Yeah.
only one way to do that. There's no replay on goggles or something that the referee can look at. In
Down
full
goggles.
time,
GoPros.
they-
Not even then. You have to have like what
I-
guys
I'm
monitoring
just-
these.
NFL games would turn into 7 hours long.
Yeah.
At that point,
I'd
you
still
need
watch them all
to-
too.
You need to come up with a way to review everything.
Yeah.
They are saying that Des Bryant catch still wasn't a catch, but you still need, because you heard about the new catch rule, right?
Right.
They're trying to say
The-
it still is not a
what-
catch.
what they-
In
what they-
that
what they were
circumstance,
talking
with that
about,
much
though-
on the line and that close
Yeah.
of a game, you need to go to the monitor. You
Yeah.
can't.
But even then, they were talking about just adjusting the wording to it, not changing the
That's
rule,
what- that's
adjusting
what
the
I-
wording.
But that's so dumb.
So it clears it for
The
teams that are
words,
questioning it.
So when our boy Mike Pierre, the rule states
Pereira, I hate
whatever.
that guy.
He does
Yeah.
that. It's like, come on, a catch is a
No,
catch.
I can't stand what's his name more.
I don't know.
Carey.
Oh, Mike Carey, the bald black guy.
Yeah.
Oh my
So,
God,
that's-
I can't stand
When
that guy.
CBS goes to him for
Yeah.
consulting, you're just like, mute.
My third thing that drives me nuts: quarterback hits.
Yeah, those are almost always
They
called.
might as well have the Pro Bowl rules for the
I
quarterback.
Yeah, just don't touch
I
him.
un-
Just don't touch him.
I understand you want to take the knee.
Just put one hand on him and hope it doesn't get called a penalty.
Exactly. Not. That's how the Eli
So,
Manning
even
thing.
if he has the ball, even if he has the ball still,
I
and
didn't
you come
finish.
tackle me and you hit me at the knee,
That's
it's
a
a
penalty. Yep. Yeah.
it's a regular tackle.
You could even trip and hit the guy. Penalty.
Penalty.
That's what
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. I'm all for not going for the knees, but how is that a foul?
Yeah.
Tapping on the head.
A
Yeah,
tapping.
it is.
How is that a 15?
When they come in, there.
Not only
I
that,
saw one
it's
this
not
year.
only a foul; it's a automatic
Yeah,
first down.
I saw one
Yeah.
this year when the D tackle pushed the left tackle into like the quarterback, and he was trying to swat at the quarterback. He hit him in the head, and that
And it
was
was
the
a-
penalty.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so that's why.
Chandler Jones he got pushed.
Back
and his,
into the quarterback.
No, he got his arm. It wasn't even like his hand. His arm got pushed back by the tackle
Yeah.
into the quarterback. and it
it's
didn't
so
even
dumb.
hit him in the
It's so dumb.
head. It hit him like it grazed his neck.
I'll go back to the Tyreek
penalty.
catch.
It was
I
crap.
forget the linebacker who had him in his grasp, and he let him go because. Come on, Nick, help me.
Was it Luke Kuechly holding Gronk?
No.
No.
The
Pat's
Pat's Giants
Giants.
Super Bowl.
Oh.
When Eli
David
decided to
Tyree.
run around
Yeah,
run around like a chicken.
Yeah.
Who was the linebacker? He was an older guy. They signed him. Oh my God, I can't think of him. But I said it. He let up because he thought they were gonna call it because he was in the grass.
Yeah.
And then
I'm trying to remember the guy's name.
someone will look him up.
Ted Johnson, Teddy Bruschi,
No.
Willie McGinnis, Roman Harper. No, he wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
No, I know you didn't
Vrabel.
mention it. No.
No, because
know
it
it.
was and they let him go.
Junior Seau.
No, it wasn't
No.
him. He was pretty good too. I just can't. But he let him go, and then you have a
Ted
team.
Johnson.
No. And
No.
you let him go.
No, he had
And then
retired
you're
by
like,
that
what
point.
do you do? Like what?
Yeah.
And then we all know how that story ended.
Yeah.
Instead of because he didn't want to grab him on the thing and throw him down because that would have been a penalty too.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
So was it Seymour?
no.
Oh,
he's-
Adelius Thomas.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh,
I was just
yeah,
looking at. I was just
yeah.
looking at the
Well, 'cause,
the stats.
yeah,
It was Adelius
Seymour
Thomas.
played
Yes.
D
It was
end.
Adelius
See,
Thomas.
Yeah.
And then
It
we
was.
all know how that story
That started like a trend of
Yeah.
issues to come.
So that's
I mean, so they were talking. Belichick brings this up for the past 4 years at every annual meeting, at the annual owners meeting, that there should be sideline cameras and then a camera on the goal line,
Yeah.
so that it makes it easier to review these kinds of plays, like the Des Bryant play,
Right.
where that was sideline and near the goal line. You have two camera angles at that point, and plus all the other ones, and it keeps getting rejected by the league.
Other sports are going to goal line technology. Hockey has it.
Why not? Yeah.
Hockey has it. Soccer has it.
MLB has it.
MLB has it as but why? I don't see why the NFL doesn't go to this. What soccer has? They have one. Yeah. On the goal, literally the goal line, because the ball doesn't have to hit the net to be a goal. It just has to go. It just has to go over the line, and that is the only time when it gets reviewed is when the ball hits, because sometimes the ball hits the crossbar and just goes down, and it comes up.
That's also the only time we're going to make a soccer analogy.
Yes, probably, but it's the same. It's the same thing. Yeah, we're good.
We got 5 minutes.
Yeah. All right. So.
We can keep going with this.
If we have the technology, why aren't we using it?
Well, I think
a lot of it goes with time.
I think it's just like an ignorance to change, but that's slowly going to go away.
Hockey has it, and they're.
Here's what the argument is. As sad and messed up as this is what the argument is. Ready? Someone's going to say, "Well, okay, am I going to review?" This is an argument that you're going to hear from both sides, which sucks. So the NFL...
They want to keep authentic gameplay on one side.
Right, but the NFL is going to say this. The NFL is going to say, okay, so in the first quarter of the Bears-Raiders game, and there's a dispute on a hit. Mm-hmm. I'm supposed to take 5 minutes to go check out to see if it's a legal hit. No.
You call it kind of like what college football does.
That would never happen. It should happen.
Right.
Never would happen. NFL
That's what I'm saying. Why wouldn't they do something like that?
And you can't make the argument to just do it in the playoffs. Because then every other team's going to be like, well, we got screwed over. We could have won games and been in the playoffs.
Right.
So it's a flawed system, sadly.
I wonder...
Yeah. But the college football system would work out because...
Right, because
you have more efficient calling.
I remember this game, the college football game, Alabama A&M at A&M.
And he was watching it because it was Alabama.
That too. And I remember Johnny did what Johnny does and looped one up to someone. And
probably Mike Evans.
No, it wasn't Mike Evans.
Was it?
I don't know. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But the safety, Nick, Clinton Nix, came over. He touched the ball first, then hit him with his shoulder. The ref threw the flag
for targeting.
For targeting.
Yeah.
But targeting is reviewed.
Yes.
All right, but how about this?
So,
what if the NFL made this option?
So, but if they had
an extra challenge, you get an extra challenge. You give every team 3 challenges. 3 challenges instead of 2, and you can challenge a rule. And
isn't that one of the things they're doing?
No.
That is good though, because then you can challenge the wording
a penalty. Right. So how about
this? That would mean that they're taking our thing that would take longer than 5 minutes. That would be
way.
Like
if there's a holding call and you're like absolutely did not hold. There's no, there is a holding on every play in the NFL. Yep. But if there's a bad call that a judge from that side of the field makes a holding on the right tackle on that side and it costs you the down or the possession, you throw the flag and you go and look and they zoom in and say, well, yeah, he didn't hold. The rule is overturned. It wasn't a flag. Redo third down.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that? What's wrong with saying pass interference? Well, they got tangled up. They tripped feet. That's incidental contact. Yeah. Let's go take a look at that. They go look. Yep, it's incidental contact. Done.
That's why I think refs and the lines guys should have areas. Because to take away that, you shouldn't have the left guy calling the penalty on the right guy.
Absolutely right.
Right.
So I think
you can't be calling penalties from across the field because
so if you
then
kind of like dissect the field some way somehow and have the back see, I think the back guy should call everything on the line.
Without a doubt, have to.
That's just my opinion.
Yeah. It's kind of like the guy who inbounds the ball after a score. You can run the baseline. They're running. They can see everything.
So I think they should do that. The back judges there's 2 back judges?
Yeah.
Yes.
So one should get each...
Because they have to look at each other for like a field goal or something.
Right. So they should get each corner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then, is there 2 guys in the middle?
Yes.
And then 2... So dissect it like that.
The only problem with that is... The NFL is very stubborn. They've always been stubborn. They always will be stubborn. It takes a long time. The method's flawed for a long time, and then
and nothing's going to change like next season, the season after.
Sadly, no.
We'll see like maybe 4 or 5 years down the line, but these things need to change because we're going to see a lot more calls like the Des Bryant call.
I think, and that rule pisses me off because this is my problem. I'm showing it to talk to you. I'm not showing it for the camera. If I catch a pass like this, I don't want to be on camera. I just said I don't care about that. I'm showing it for you to get. If I catch a pass like this, I maintain possession of the ball, and I fall to the ground,
Ball.
and I brace my fall with the ball,
And
but
it
the
pops
ball
out.
the ball doesn't move.
Yeah.
The ball doesn't move. The ball touches the ground, and I roll over. That's a catch, right? That's a catch.
Yeah.
Because the ground can't cause a fumble.
Right. But how come when you catch the ball, you maintain full possession, you go to the ground, the ball hits the ground, it comes out. It's a fumble when it hits the ground.
It's kind of physics.
Right. Well, yeah, obviously. But so why? So
I
do you
don't-
think that?
I mean,
there's
how
money
much
in
of
the
an
Calvin
iron grip
Johnson?
do you
I
have to
thought-
like,
Right.
kind of,
That's why I'm saying it's so.
To be honest,
it's dumb.
when I saw I thought it was a catch.
Right.
it should have been ruled a catch.
Catch.
Whether
It cost them the game.
Whether you think it
Well, the
it
Lions
was or
got screwed in
wasn't.
that game, the game before against Dallas,
Yeah.
Yeah, with that.
the
you know,
penalties.
Right.
So
I
yeah.
don't know.
So yeah.
There's
I
too
mean,
much to speculate.
What do you guys think of this 9-point crazy play? Have you guys not heard?
I have no clue what the hell
No.
you're talking about.
Really?
I haven't-
I believe it's the Lions GM. He wants a 9-point play. Okay, so you score a touchdown.
so he's talking about adjusting the
So it just
extra
happens
point.
for
For
so
like a
this is
three-
what happens.
So it'd be a touchdown for 6 and then an extra point for 3.
No. So this is what would happen. You score the touchdown, you get 6. If you're going for 2, you get the 2. You kick a 35-yard field goal.
So it's a
did
double.
hear
It's a
that.
double
I
conversion.
did hear that.
So you can potentially get 3 extra more points.
I did hear that.
Okay.
Or, I don't know if it was 35 yards or 50.
No, I heard that. I also heard about thinning up. I don't know what.
The thin moving
because they
the
enjoyed it at
crossbars
the
in.
Pro Bowl this year
Yeah.
or whatever.
Well, like guys.
I'm
like,
sorry, that's never gonna happen.
No.
Never will happen.
I just want.
I don't want them to make the crossbars shorter or
You
more
would like
narrow.
that?
I don't want that
Oh, I wouldn't want that.
because you're going to see a lot more missed kicks and
There's
everything.
enough missed kicks now.
Yeah.
My team. I lost. I had a tie this year.
They did.
Nugent missed a 40-yarder to win the game. I
Yeah.
don't think it needs to be any smaller.
No, because what? See, I understand.
Because kicks are more accurate nowadays. You're getting a lot more kicks down the middle.
I
And a
understand.
lot more kicks from further away.
I
that are hitting
understand.
in between.
Why do you shorten them from high school to college? That because you
High schools are like ridiculously wide.
and then when you go to college, they shrink.
They
Yeah.
shrink.
I
And-
believe
and-
they're
No,
the
they
same.
don't shrink again. They're the same.
They're
They're the same in-
I
they're the
understand
same in the
that. So
NFL.
if they're doing it in college, why can't they do it in the NFL? Why do you have to shrink them again?
Look, the problem is these questions. You can have them every year. There's a summer.
Oh, we could go on for.
We could have a show on this.
Yeah, I was
for-
gonna say we could do a complete hour show on like
because
rule
there's so
changes
many
and
things that they
everything.
should work on,
Yeah.
and the problem is the rules that they.
But it's not
imply-
even just that there's so many things that they should change. There's so many
Oh,
things that they changed that they should
One
have
thing, because
changed.
we have to get going. One thing I want to touch upon really
No, we
quick.
don't have to.
Jameis Winston is potentially not going to be at the draft.
Yeah,
Did you
I
see
saw
that?
Yeah,
He's gonna be
yeah,
at
I saw
home.
that.
He's gonna be at home.
He's gonna
What
be
do you
like
think about that?
the first
pick to not be
yeah.
there.
No one. I mean, it's not a mandatory rule.
I don't think there's an issue with that. I thought they were making a big deal.
Why?
I personally, if I'm getting drafted
Playing-
and I'm going 1, and I want my family there, and I don't want them at a little uncomfortable table, and I don't want to be dressed up, and I can be dressed like this, eating wings, watching my name get called with my whole family. He shouldn't be.
It's not a.
Your family in the squad, yeah, I can
He
understand
shouldn't
that.
be in trouble for
I
that.
don't-
But
He was
like-
getting a lot of. He was getting a lot of backlash
Yeah.
for that.
I
Yeah.
know.
The whole thing, playing like devil's advocate, you want the first pick of the draft
You
to
are
be there because
Walk up.
you,
You're like
you get the jersey, you get the picture with Goodell, and get the hat on and everything, or like do the Sammy Watkins and take a selfie with him. Like you want that publicity there. You don't want him like Skyping in and and like taking pictures that
Yeah,
way
but
or
then
something like that.
Say, even though he is supposed to go 1, what if we have like the Aaron Rodgers effect? And he's just sitting.
That's true.
But
See?
like even then, you want
See, it's
true.
not-
you want a guy like Winston to be there so that the media
but
can
then
get
you have
all there.
Yeah, but you have the same thing. Look at when Geno Smith got drafted. He was supposed to go top 10, and he waited till
This is-
34.
yeah.
Same with Lacey. They were all there, and they didn't go in the first round. So I don't see why you should have to be there if you want to. Another
Yeah,
bas-
I don't-
another,
I definitely agree with you in that
Right.
they shouldn't have to be there. I'm just saying that
another
playing
bas-
like devil's
but it's-
advocate,
but it's-
business-wise, they would want Winston to be there.
And the only reason why I'm going to say you're absolutely wrong is because you right now cannot guarantee that he's going to go 1. No
Right.
one knows who's going
Yeah.
1 until the first day. So
Yeah.
you can't say, Jameis, you need to be there,
Be there.
and potential that you might go 1.
Right.
Right.
You can't make that argument. 'cause
Another
you don't know if he's
basketball
gonna go
reference, Stephon Telfair, he was supposed to go top 10.
Sebastian
Sebastian,
Telfair.
whatever the hell his name is. he's a bum, but he was supposed to go top 10 or whatever. He got selected 14th. He wasn't there. He was at the 40-40 club.
Yeah.
There's no backlash for that.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. I don't like doing other drafts because the NFL, it's so unpredictable. While like the NBA or whatever,
you pretty much know.
It's just so predicted, and if it not, then that person's gone.
I mean, there's some curveballs in the NBA draft, but there's not as many.
Many.
There's sometimes where obviously those people in New York are idiots and they boo anything.
Yeah.
But
well, now it's in Chicago.
I know. What do you think about that?
It doesn't matter, but
that's an interesting thing.
It's a tougher city.
It was supposed to be. It was supposed to be between them and LA, which I think.
Don't you think it should constantly change though? Wouldn't you like that?
I would like if it would change.
If it changed every year.
Yeah, because I would like to see it in Boston. Because I would go to that.
Well, I mean,
I don't think he would go though.
To the draft?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Why would I? Nick,
Benelli, would you go?
Yeah. Nick, I'm gonna spend. Why would I spend? I don't even. You have to buy tickets, right?
Yeah, but it's not about the money. It's about the same thing as the Masters. It's like a draft.
I know.
There's like 50 seats available for people that aren't family and whatever,
I know,
and you have to apply.
Oh.
Yeah. And they want like fans from like all 32 teams.
But back to the thing.
So you hear cheers amongst the crowd of boos.
So do you guys? Back to the whole. We'll wrap it up after this one thing. Do you think this is it's publicized because it's Jameis, or that's
always,
or is it because it's the first time that someone might potentially do it, or both?
Both. Because ESPN's going to run all over it, and major media outlets are going to run all over it because it's Jameis and because of everything that's happened with Jameis.
But it won't matter because the cameras are going to be in his house.
Right.
So technically, it's not the same thing.
John Ron might be projected to the 5th round.
Exactly.
Is anyone going to say anything if he says I'm going to be at home?
No.
I read an article today. I get a
there
notification today that Manziel's ready in April. What do I care? Why? Why is that the headline?
Yeah.
It's Manziel, it's Winston, it's the Tebows, it's the LeBrons, it's the people that the media can just leech onto.
It's every
topic. Always going to be that way.
It's every topic you'd potentially see on every ESPN show where it's, Sports Center's talking about it, OTL's talking about it, First Take's talking about it.
Good question. Because
Piss and Her is talking about it formally.
No one would say anything to a lot of people. Even if you were projected to go 15th.
Because
you probably wouldn't hear any backlash.
Even if it was the guy from Missouri, nothing.
Yeah, he wouldn't probably.
If it was a guy from Clemson, I forget.
The NFL loves to make a story. What pick did Michael Sam go? You remember?
Dead last.
Do you remember why it was a big deal?
Because
he's gay.
He was the first.
He was the first
openly gay.
Yeah.
The NFL goes after a story. A middleman.
Not even just the NFL. Major media, major sports media.
And like I said, you cannot guarantee that he's going one.
Yeah.
So you don't know.
But I was just playing devil's advocate.
I understand.
I do agree with you guys, but the NFL wants that as a business thing. They want that as a publicity and a PR thing.
That's true.
Even though they're going to boo Goodell as soon as he comes out to announce the first pick.
Rightfully so. I'd boo that guy any day.
But what they're going to do is they want that as good media, and to them that's not good media and PR when you have your potential, but everyone's saying is going to be your first pick overall, staying home. So.
True.
That's all we have time for today.
What are we doing next week? Give them a sneak peek.
All right.
I don't know.
Let Daddy come up with something legit.
Yeah.
Legit. I came up with 2 good ideas. Draft bust. Actually, Nick came up. Yeah,
we already did bust.
Oh,
no, I did the game.
I had an idea.
That was my game.
I had an idea. I had an idea, but we might save this and do this in 2 weeks when you come back. Our all under 25 team. It's all young guys.
I need the internet, man.
That would be fine for that case because you need to know guys' ages. But would you want to do that?
I was gonna say the funniest plays, top 5 funniest plays.
Ooh.
I've got a lot. I'm gonna sneak peek one. The one where Robbie Gould had a field goal and was 40-mile-an-hour winds, and he literally kicked it to the corner of the end zone, that far corner, and it went all the way back in.
Yeah.
I need the internet too.
That's fine.
I was gonna think like best plays or something like that because then you get
top 10 plays in our era.
You need 10.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Come on, you could come up with 10. You could definitely come up with 10.
Yeah. We can do that next week.
10
So
plays.
next
You
week
saw
we
10
can
top
do
plays this year.
top 10 plays that we've
plays.
seen in the 2000s.
Odell's catch, baby.
Thank you guys for listening. If you're listening to
Odell's
Newbury
catch.
College Radio, and for watching if you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to follow us on NFL Korner at the NFL Korner, corner with a K, number 3, no spaces, to stay up to date on NFL news and to see what we think of NFL stories and issues in 140 characters or less. Also, feel free to ask us any NFL-related questions and give us topic suggestions, whether it's on YouTube or Twitter as well. If you're watching this on YouTube, next week we will be a man down as Benelli will be in Florida, so it'll just be me and Tierman next week. But he'll be back in 2 weeks, so don't worry. Daddy will be back.
So what's next week's show? All Pats? Cool.
Yeah.
No. I'm gonna listen in, and if I hear about all Pats, I'm gonna be pissed.
He's gonna text us and yell at us. Thanks again for listening
you're
or
gonna be on a
watching.
golf
You are
course,
listening to the NFL Corner on Newbury College Radio, the sound of Nighthawk Nation. Peace, guys.
Peace.